BT21803 and I'm going to present abstract. The study aims to investigate how consumption expenditure and government expenditure affect economic growth. The time series from data used is from year 2000 until 2019. The data comprising economic growth, consumption expenditure, and government expenditure. After studying about data series used in the study and run unit root tests and co-integrations, we should have come with results that will determine the relationship between economic growth with consumption expenditure and government expenditure.
My name is Nur Izzati Wisna binti Rozaidi and I'm going to present the introduction. So basically, our group report is based on the relationship between consumption, economic growth, and also government expenditure. In the article written by M.I. Vick, state that the concept of economic growth is include change in material production and also during a relative short period of time, usually 1 year. Keynesian approach states that consumption theory is about term of private domestic behavioral relations underlying the IA schedule. There are suggestions from neoclassical approach, that is, he suggests that fiscal policies cannot bring about changes in the long-run growth of output. So basically, in this study, we'll have many sections, and one of the sections that will show the evidence is result section.
Hello, my name is Petronila Iyad and I'm going to present the concept of economic growth, consumption expenditure, and government expenditure. Economic growth is an increase in production of goods and services in the economic activities of society over a specified time. It also refers to an increase in total real national income. Economists use the term production potential or GDP potential to describe the level of maximum sustained economic activity. This is because GDP is used to measure economic growth because it is an indicator of the economy. Consumption expenditure is defined as the use of goods and services by households. Consumption broadly reviews as the final purpose of economic activity. It is the use of goods and services by household and it is a component in the calculation of the GDP. For government expenditure refers to the money spent by the government on public investment, public consumption and transfer payments consisting of income transfers such as pensions and social benefits. Government expenditure is financed through two sources, which are tax collection by the government and government borrowing. Typically, government expenditures data are derived from OECD.
My name is Iza Akila binti Zulkifli and I'm going to present about the theory that include in this study, which are Keynesian theory and witness law. Keynesian and witness model commonly used to analyze the factor of economic growth, especially consumption and government expenditure. Firstly, Keynesian theory. This model basically explains about how household consumption could trigger the growth of economy. Keynesian will consider consumption expenditure as a dependable function of income. Both economic growth and consumer spending have highly correlated each other, indicating the consumer spending has a positive effect on economic growth. Household expenditure are a significant impact on economic growth by affecting total expenditure. Next, witness law. Keynesian and witness have argument about the relationship between government expenditure and economic growth, whether it's directly or inversely proportional. At the beginning, the introduction of this law, it was being a question mark to all economists around the world. In 1883, witness law explained that public spending increased faster than national spending. This is because public sector expenditure will consequently rise a proportion of income, and when income rises, the demand will rise. At the same time, it will contribute to economic growth and government spending also increase to meet social needs. Based on the witness law, total spending will increase along with the national income per capita, and that will stimulate economic growth. When the government decreases taxes, disposable income increase. We use this law to classify government expenditure for economic growth.
My name is Sahira binti Muhammad Asri and I'm going to present methodology. In this study, we have used rote unit test and co-integration. Unit rote test is considered to be a time-different stochastic of a process. This test can check whether the data series is non-centenary or centenary, and in this study, the research used augmented decoupled test. The ADF test is basically a test of statistical significance, which shows that there are hypotheses involved with null and substitution hypotheses. Statistical test results were calculated and p-value were reported. Based on the test result and the value of p, a conclusion can be made whether the data series is non-centenary or centenary, then a hypothesis is accepted or rejected. In this study, there are three variables that will be analyzed, that is economic growth, consumption expenditure, and government expenditure. Therefore, the null hypothesis from the augmented decoupled test is if probability value is less than or equal to 0.05, the data series is centenary, and if probability value is greater than or equal to 0.05, the data series is non-centenary. Next is contegration. Contegration is a statistical method for testing correlation between time series not moving over a long period of time or for a specified period of time. This method assists in identifying long-run parameters or equilibrium for two or more sets of variables. The Johansen test was used to test the consolidation of relationship between several centenary time series data. Therefore, this study used contegration test because it is based on the logic that more than two series variables have some similar deterministic trend that can be combined in a given time period.
My name is Rasnazati binti Jamal, and I'm going to present about the results of this study. This study was conducted by using time data series of gross domestic product (GDP), consumption expenditure, and government expenditure in Malaysia within 20 years from year 2000 to 2019. In this study, two types of methods were being utilized to run the analysis and testing the data series, which are unit root test and co-integration. We are applying augmented decoupled test that is valid in a large sample, as this study covered 20 years of time series. Data series of consumption expenditure is non-stationary, as could be seen at level. In addition, at the first difference, the probability also more than 0.05 with 0.1131 at C and T. On the other hand, for C, the probability is 0.0299. As for the government expenditure, the data series is also non-stationary. At level and first difference, the probability are all exceed 0.05, which indicates that a clear view that the whole data series is non-stationary as expected, and the null hypothesis of the study are accepted. In this study, Johansen tests are being utilized to figure out the co-integration between the data series. According on both methods, could be seen that both data series of consumption and government expenditure has co-integration with the data series. Could be seen from both tables that all probabilities supporting the fact that all the data series is co-integrated whether using probability or comparison method.
As for conclusions, the study assessed the long-run correlation between these variables within a period of 20 years, 2000 until 2019. Our findings supporting the existence of long-run correlations between dependent variables, which is economic growth, and independent variable, which are consumption expenditure and government expenditure.